So, Team of the Year voting should start this weekend, starting the Team of the Year market crash. So, just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs, and now for the last 4 years I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So coming this weekend we should see Team of the Year voting starting. As a result, we do expect the market to start crashing because that is exactly what happened last year. So last year, the voting, as you can see to the side to me, it was announced that voting was going to start on the 9th, and then voting actually started on the 10th. Well, we can correlate this with basically the whole market dropping from the 9th and the 10th. So let's go and show you guys some examples through the whole, I guess, sort of economy, through cheap stuff to mid-tier stuff to even top-end icons dropping as of the start of Team of the Year voting. So we'll start off with some absolute top dogs, and we're going to be looking at the likes of Baby, Mid, and the World Cup Eusebio, just because of convenience. So the 9th is when the voting was announced to start. I'm sure it would have been leaked early or January, but we can see right here that he was 2.7 million coins on the Friday. Well, voting was announced to come, I believe, on the 9th. So we can see it went from already 2.7 mil down to 2.45 million, so down 250k with just an announcement. And then he dropped all the way through to the first day of Team of the Year, which was the 19th of January, where he dropped from 2.45 million to the 19th, which should be the absolute low point of 2.1 million. So he dropped yet another 350k. We then saw on the 19th of January, that was day one of Team of the Year, so these cards did start to rebound. So the absolute low point was the 19th, which was, again, the day of Team of the Year. We can see the exact same thing here with Middle Eusebio. Again, this card was about 700k cheaper, but it had the exact same sort of trends. Move here to the 9th of January, peaked right here at about 1.665. The announcement came, and just with the announcement, he only went down 17 compared to a few hundred k of the other one. And then the day of the voting, he went and dropped himself another 30. He then proceeded to drop all the way through to the 19th, where he went down to 1.3 million, which means before voting being announced and then Team of the Year, he dropped 350k. And then after that, you can see that he did go and rebound. And finally, we can show you this with the base Eusebio. So this card would have been out of packs, if I'm not wrong. We can see that before any announcement, he was 2 million. Then the announcement dropped him 30k. Day after announcement dropped another 30k. And then he proceeded to drop down into the 19th, another 250k. So for some of them, it was a bit of a drastic drop in the announcement and then the showing of the players. Because again, how they did it is they said they were going to do the voting, and then they showed us all the players in the voting. And again, those were the first two signs of the drops, and then the market kept dropping through to the 19th. So from these players alone, we can see there were kind of drops around about 10 to 20% on some of the top end icons. So now what we'll do is we'll go and look at like some of the middle end icons. Now it's time to go and show you the likes of Garincha. So Garincha, we can see right here, pre-voting he was going for 500k. You can see post-voting he was still 500k, kind of held 500k. And then 1 week before Team of the Year, we can see that he dropped from 500k down to the 19th, being the Chiefs again, to 400k, and then he proceeded to rebound. We can again see this with the middle Garincha. We can see before the voting, he was just under 700k. We can see a few days after voting, he dropped about 30k, then proceeded to go and drop another 110k to the 19th, and then he proceeded to rebound. And finally, we can go and look at the World Cup Garincha. We can see once again that he was going for the best part of 870k pre-voting. Wasn't really affected too much by the voting, but then 1 week before Team of the Year, he did go and drop to 717, which means he did go and drop 100k between basically now when you're watching this and the likes of Team of the Year. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go and show you an array of heroes and show you how heroes reacted around Team of the Year. So I've got to grab to you guys an array of heroes going from the absolute top end to some middle end and then some relatively cheap, but there's no point looking at stuff that's like 30, 40k because again it kind of follows the same sort of trend. But we can see right here, we'll keep it quick, we can see he was 480k before any sort of voting, went down there to 460, but once again cheaps on the 19th down there at 400, meaning he dropped over 20%. Now moving to Yaya Toure, once again peaking here on the 7th. He seems to have quite a bit of a drop with the likes of the voting, dropping around about 200k. Got the lowest on the 19th, 18th, 19th even, at 1.8 million, and then proceeded to rebound there after the 19th. We can see this with the cheapest Yaya Toure, the exact same thing right here. 640 before any sort of talk of voting. Dropped down there 150k and then rebounded after the 19th. Looking at the likes of Ginola, we can see right here on the 7th, before any talk of voting, 1.1 million. After voting occurred, he went down to 1,092,000. So even though some of these players didn't seem to be too affected, there isn't too much consistency in terms of the price range of players that were affected and weren't affected. So to play it safe, you're going to sell this weekend. There's a chance they'll hold for another week, but it's a lot riskier. So yeah, the likes of Ginola, we can see there was 1.82. Once again, the cheapest there on the 19th at 1,020,000, and then did rebound back up to 1.2 million after Team of the Year. Now moving to a slightly cheaper player of the likes of JJ Kocha. We can see, actually be the other JJ Kocha will be the slightly cheaper one. 750k, lowered down there to 620, rebounded out of it. The cheap JJ Kocha, and there we go. We can see he was on the 9th, 227. On the announcement, dropped 27k. Proceeded to drop to 150k, meaning he dropped around about 80k. So we're looking at about a 30 to 35% drop. And then he proceeded to rebound after that for about 2-3 weeks. So after Team of the Year, or even as a day one of Team of the Year, the market rebounds really nicely. Just going into Team of the Year, we see like 20 to 30% drops, which is why I'm making this video, to let you guys know. In terms of when you should like sell your players, it's basically this Friday, Saturday. Probably this Friday's play it safe, and then again it'll probably drop this Friday through for another 2 to 3 weeks, presuming we get voting this weekend, and then again rebounding after like the Team of the Year. But we'll go and show you some previous special cards, just in case you guys are interested in terms of how did previous special cards do going into Team of the Year. So now time to go through some previous special cards that came out obviously before Team of the Year last year. Let's have a little look how these did. We can see the 9th right there, Ronaldo was 590k. We can see he started to drop after that, bottoming out here at the 19th, down to 490. And then his rebound was a bit slower than other players, but again he still rebounded 490 to 590 in about 2 weeks, and he did nothing but rise. Nothing but Neymar. Now on to Neymar. We can see here on the 9th he was 700k. On the 19th he didn't really drop that much, but yeah, did get down to 600 and then rebounded all the way up here to 900k. So some players actually rebounded to higher prices than they were previously. Now an interesting card I've decided to bring up here is the likes of Robertson, because he kind of goes against the trend. And one of the reasons he went against the trend is because this card literally only came out 2 weeks before Team of the Year. So there was still like a lot of active hype around him, which you could argue, when we're looking at some of those record or rule breakers, they came out 2 months ago, so the hype around them kind of died off. So we can see right here on the announcement, or round about the announcement, he did actually go from about 350 and he went down into 340. Nothing too crazy, but he didn't. Where the rest of the cards kind of were a little bit scared going into Team Year, he didn't really go down in price. In fact, he rose up into the 14th. But here's where we see it starting to follow the same trends. So now we've looked at some of the cards earlier, and some of them actually didn't really drop until 1 week before Team of the Year. Well, what happened with Robertson and a few of the other winter wild cards when I was checking with them is they were following the rising through to not this weekend but the following weekend, and then they still got really heavily panic sold. For example, he went down from 377 and went all the way down to 317, so went down still 20%, but then he rebounded nicely after Team of the Year. Yeah, so the winter wild cards, I guess in theory, are more market crash proof than the other cards, because again, they've got a lot of active hype around them. So the last cards I imagine you guys are interested in are the likes of the top end cards that go out of packs. So Mbappe's quite an interesting card. Now, he did get a POTM during Team of the Year last year, so that is something you have to bear in mind as a variable that, you know, potentially won't occur this year. So what happened with Mbappe going into Team of the Year? You wouldn't believe it. As of the 9th, he dropped from 820k, and he was the cheapest on the 19th, where he was 712k, so only went down 100k, still about 13-14%. And then he rebounded when he went out of packs, and he still rebounded when he went back into packs, rebounding there to the 10th of February. So even the cards that were going out of packs dropped going into Team of the Year. Then day one of Team of the Year, like the rest of the market, these cards rose. For those that are interested in fodder, with the 10 times 84 pack, I wouldn't be buying fodder. Likewise with Team of the Week, so I just, see how it goes. I wouldn't be buying them now, anticipating them to bang during Team of the Year or anything. It's really we'll see how it goes when we get to it. Regarding the Pro Live cards, because they're live cards, so for example, is it Muniain? Is it not Meany? I mean, sorry. For example, who's just a big one? William. Cards like these, I do think can counter the normal trends of the market dropping, just because I think the hype around these cards is so much. So I guess if you want some cards that may hold their value, you're looking at the players who play in week 2, 3, 4 of the for the FC Pro Live. Because again, I think these being the only active live cards could counter the sort of panic selling. Nonetheless, I don't think anyone playing next Sunday or next Monday is a good investment right now. People playing the following week, I don't think are too bad though. Stuff like Falvin. But we'll cover that in a future video. That hopefully has given you guys a bit of an insight of what happened to the market regarding voting being announced and then Team of the Year last year. As I say, selling your cards, you're basically looking to sell them this Friday. They should be rising going into this Friday, but after this Friday, like I showed you, more cards than not were dropping going into Team of the Year and then rebounding after Team of the Year. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.